Always me and poor me, but we're so glad to have him this morning in service with us. And I taught this on Wednesday night, and I began to pray because I had another message for today, and I began to pray. And I just feel like sharing it again tonight, this morning. Was I surprised my daughter and showed up on her doorstep about 9:30 yesterday morning. Knocked on the door, no door, and one of the kids said, "Oh, it's Grandpa." And so we was at the store yesterday, and I said, "I need some methylate." She goes, "Dad, they don't make that anymore." She goes, "Why do you need some methylate?" I said, "Well, I need it to take to church in the morning." And she, she never knows what's coming out of my head anyway. And she said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I need some methylate and some cotton balls, some gauze. Because when I get through in the morning, I may have stepped all over some toes, and they may need some doctoring." It's just me, not just the way. I'll tell you what. But I want to share on the topic, as I did Wednesday night, surviving crucial times. Most of the time, when we are overcome, when we're going through a crucial time, it is our own doings. It's not God's. It's usually our own doings. I already see people pulling their feet back underneath the stairs. No, I just kidding. And I want to share with you today on some things and some scriptures about how we're going to be talking today about daily living. Right. Daily living. Mm-hmm. Because our problems come daily. Right. Our crucial times come daily. They come all hours of the night and day. They come in all manners of different ways. They come from every direction. And that's why this is so important for us to have this in our heart and living according to these teachings. It will help us through our crucial times. Mm-hmm. The reason why people crash during crucial times is they are not prepared in advance for things to come. That's right. They are not looking ahead for things to come. And it's the same way in our daily walk. If we are prepared spiritually, there is nothing the devil can throw at us that will destroy us. Amen. There is nothing the devil can throw at us that will bring us down to a level of just giving up. Amen. But if we are not prepared for it, if our hearts is not right, then whatever happens, the devil has an open door to do to us whatever he wants. Amen. That's right. In Hebrews, the 10th chapter, the 22nd to the 25th verses, I'm going to read them, and I'll try to rush through this, I promise. The 22nd verse of the 10th chapter of Hebrews, and I've got to get in the right book. I would have told you that everybody lost. Okay. The 22nd verse of the 10th chapter of Hebrews, reading like this from the Amplified Bible. "Let us all come forward and draw near with the honest and sincere hearts in unqualified assurance and absolute conviction, engendered by faith, by that learning of the entire human personality on God is absolute trust, confidence in His power, wisdom, and goodness, having our hearts sprinkled and purified from guilty, evil conscience, our bodies cleansed with pure water." What is he saying? Our faith our trust has to be 100% confident in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen.
There is no gray areas in where our faith should be in God. God does not leave it open for debate. He does not leave it open for us to make our own decision. He made that decision for us. Put your faith totally in confidence, 100% in me. Not me, but God. So let us seize and hold fast and retain without wavering the hope we cherish and confess in our acknowledgement of it. For he who promised is reliable, sure, and faithful to his word. And let us consider and give attentive, continuous care to watching over one another, studying how we may stir up, simulate, and incite to love and helpful deeds and noble activities, forsaking nor neglecting the assembling together as believers, as in the habit of some people, but admonishing, warning, urging, and encouraging one another in all more faithfully as you see the day approaching. First thing he's talking about, these verses focus on some vital issues for Christians who live in crucial days.
Right.
I would be safe in saying every one of us, let's broaden it a little bit. Every one of us within the past 2 weeks has faced something in our lives that took God to take care of it.
Right.
Or we faced something that we had to go to God for His leading and His guidance and His help.
Amen.
An individual's faith is not affected usually by one single catastrophic event. It's more like I said the other night, a grinding away. The devil gets in our hearts and he grinds away. I have found this out. People that suffer catastrophes in their life overcome them easier than they do the little things that upset them in their life.
That's right.
Something huge, it seems like they can get a hold of God and get through it. But it's the little things. And that's what he's talking about. It's the little things, the grinding away at things that eats at our hearts, eats at our spirit, and draws us away from God and causes us to fall during crucial times. An agnostic was asked, "How did you lose your faith?" His reply was, "I didn't lose it. I put my faith away in a drawer for a time when I needed it. When I went back for it, it was gone." How many people do you know that put their faith on the shelf? Times are going good. Things are going well. Bills are being paid. Everybody's well. And we kind of let our faith go with that.
That's right.
Instead of believing and keeping our faith upon God, knowing and thanking Him for what He's done, but keeping our faith strong for not knowing what's coming around the next corner. And we get complacent in the good times, and we forget to trust God during those good times because they're going well, and things happen, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa! Instead of trusting and believing and continuing building our faith so that we're ready for the next one. The first thing he talks about is to draw near. Don't wait for God to put you on a schedule, to make a house call, to visit you.
That's right.
A lot of people are waiting for God to come knocking on their door. Well, He knows where I'm at. Scripture said He tells me He knows where I'm at. Scripture tells me He knows what I have need of. Scripture says, even before I ask, well, if He knows it, why should I ask? You cannot draw near to God unless you move in God's direction.
That's right, amen.
You have to move. You see, God is in the same place all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. He's in the same place. Where is that place? That place is one prayer away. That place is easy to get to. One prayer a day, one prayer at a time. But we find ourselves waiting for God to come to our rescue. Well, guess what? Sometimes if you want rescued, you got to let somebody know you're in trouble.
That's right, amen.
You got to let somebody know you're drowning before someone can throw you a life rope. Listen, God wants to hear from these people, and He wants them to be ready to call upon Him in the time of crucial problems, in a time when you're going through hard times, when the time you feel like you're drowning. Know God and know where He is. Know Him well enough that you call upon Him, that He can come to your rescue.
Amen.
But He said, draw near unto God. Come near the high priest. The only way to get close to God is to go to where He is. I live about 20 miles from here. And the only way to get to where I live is to get in my car and head that way. I can sit here all day and say, I wish I was at home.
Right.
I can sit here all day and I can think about all the things I could be doing if I was at home. I can sit here and I can think about what's my dog doing? And I can have all of these thoughts, and I would not know anything that's going on in my house until I get up and head that direction. And the closer I get to that direction, the more I want to get there. Listen, if you want to be close to God, get up off of your seat of doing nothing and get up and go to God and begin to pray and begin to seek God, begin to communicate with God, get on a first name basis with Him and go to where He's at and let Him know who you are. Know that He knows you by the sound of your voice.
Amen.
Well, you can't get there from sitting around with your arms folded, hollering, woe is me, God knows where I'm at, He knows all my problems, and I sure wish He'd come and help me.
Help us, Lord.
How do we draw closer to God? Well, with a true heart, in full assurance of faith. A pure heart. What does that mean? That means there's nothing in your heart, there's no room in your heart for nothing but the love of Jesus Christ. There's nothing in your heart but pure love before God. And when you go before God with a pure love, with a pure faith, faith mixed with anything else is not faith. You just have a mixture. But when you go to God with pure faith, and when you talk to Him, you talk to Him knowing that you believe He's going to hear you. And knowing that you know that He is going to talk to you. That's how we draw near to God. We don't get near to God by grumbling and complaining about all of the situations and all the things we're going through. That's not going to help you. And I got news for you. There ain't too many people going to want to listen to your grumbling and your complaining either. Now, there's nothing wrong with sharing your needs for God. There's nothing wrong with sharing what you need from God, but if it's a constant mumbling and grumbling about how bad life is, about how bad your life is, and how that God just don't seem to love you, and all of that, nobody wants to hear that. I'll be honest with you. I'll listen to you, but I don't want to hear it. And I'll smile while I'm listening. And when you're finished, I'm going to tell you how to go and where to go, and that is turn around, lift your eyes unto God, the author and the finisher of your faith. Lift your eyes unto God, lift your hands unto God, and begin to praise that man that you're grumbling about, and begin to glorify and exalt that man that you're grumbling about. And I guarantee you, it won't be long, and the grumble will be gone, and a praise will be flowing from within you.
That's right, amen.
This is how this is not something that you do in a crucial moment. This is something that you do to prepare for those crucial moments. The third one is we are to worship Him. For many, worship, as I said the other night, has become a tired friendship. I like the worship, but don't ask me to be a part of it. Why do you think John says sometimes, y'all are awful quiet out there? You know why he says that? He says that for a reason. He knows if you'll open up your voice unto God, if you'll open up your heart during worship and begin to sing the songs of praise and the songs of glory, and you begin to let it flow from within you, you will begin to feel the presence of God. You will begin to be a part of worship instead of somebody sitting there going, this is good, but how long is it going to last? I told you, I don't want to step on your toes, but I got to give you what God's given me. You know, we are living in a crucial time in general in this world. And we haven't faced anything what we're going to face. But if we are not doing these things that the Scripture teaches, we're not going to be ready when real crucial times comes. We're not going to be ready. We're going to struggle. And many of church-going people are going to fail because when times really get tough and times really get hard, they're not going to know how to trust God. They're not going to know how to believe God. They're not going to know how to worship God. Why? Because they put it on the back burner and just settled for a mediocre church attendance and a mediocre relationship with God. Well, there is no such thing as a mediocre relationship with God. A relationship is where you know someone and you have contact with that person and you communicate with that person and that person communicates with you and you share with each other. You cannot have a relationship with God unless you are sharing with God. And we only do that by drawing nigh and close to God. Psalmist David said, "It is good for me to draw near to God." In crucial times, we must draw near to God. Verse 23. He said, "Let us seize or hold fast and retain without wavering." Hold fast. Let us hold fast implies that we are to keep our hope, our faith, and our in ever memory and ever within our grasp. Hold fast. Hold fast to the things of God. Hold fast to your faith. Doesn't matter what they tell you. Again, we heard many requests this morning. People being sick. Listen, hold fast to your faith in God.
Amen.
Lay your doctor's report on the table and turn and put your knees on the floor and your eyes towards heaven.
Amen.
That's holding on to faith. He says, hold on. Don't let go of your faith. If people say, I just can't, I just don't know if I can believe God. Don't look at my black fingers. I got ink on them putting the cartridges. Just another one of my wonderful. Just have it days. But hold fast to your faith, to believe what you've asked God for. That He's going to, people say to me, I just don't know if I can believe God to do that or not. When you did not know God, you have never met God, you have not seen God, spoke to your sinful, wicked heart, and said to you, if you will come, I will forgive you. And you got out of your seat, walked to an altar bench, fell on your knees, and blindly before a man that you could not see, before a man that you had never talked to before, someone you didn't know, but you could pour your heart out to him and believe that he could cleanse your sinful heart and change you and make you the person you are today. If you can believe that, why can't we get a hold and hold on to that faith that God can do anything for us in any time of trial or any time of our life.
Amen.
Most of them God can do that. Can He save you? Well, He did. Duh. Now you know Him. Huh? Before you didn't know Him. You heard of Him. Somebody told you about Him. You probably used His name in vain a few times. Man made fun of Him a few times, but you didn't know Him. But you can't believe that if I ask Him, He'll do this for me. Now that you know Him, why can't we pull ourselves together during the heart? Here's the thing, there shouldn't really have to pull ourselves together. We should be ready and be together. So when things happen, we're ready to pray. We're ready to trust God. We're ready to worship God. And then we're ready to get others to come and help us. I tell people this, before you ever call me to pray, pray for yourself.
Amen.
Amen.
Before you ever pick up the phone and call a prayer chain, be on your knees before then, praying and asking God, and then call for the others to pray. But that's why He's saying, if we hold on to that faith, then we are ready when things happen. What you believe is important. If you believe that God can do anything, then it will happen in your life. If you believe the Word of God is true, and you stand on that, then no matter what happens in the times, hard times and crucial times, you'll get through it. You'll be okay. You'll make it. But if you can't believe God to heal a headache, I don't know what you're going to do if they tell you there's something seriously wrong with you. You're going to fall into a crucial time. Your faith will be tested. Above all, it says taking the shield of faith. You have to believe God. You have to have your trust in God. Bottom line, don't trust someone else to to carry your burden to God for you.
Amen. Right.
Don't trust God or trust man to do it for you. You trust God and then call others and let them trust God with you. This is a personal thing. This is not a church thing. This is a personal thing in our own lives. We have got to get ourselves in a place where we go to God for ourselves, first for ourselves, and then we start making calls for others. If we do that, then God knows that we are holding fast to that faith. He knows that we are holding on. He knows that our trust is in Him. As I've said before, I have people that call me, they never pray. I go to their house, somebody's dying, I go to their house, and there's a house full of people there I'm introduced as their pastor. You ain't been in church in 40 years plus. Until my dad died, he was your pastor. You hadn't been there 30 years before he died. In crucial times, they're looking for someone to bail them out. Whenever, if they would just get in church and pray for themselves. Pray for yourself first. Unless you're incapacitated, you can't. Then somebody else that's a Christian that finds you first, they pray first, and then they call.
That's right, amen.
If you see somebody hurting, pray right then. Pray. Why? Because when you do that, God knows that your faith is in Him. Doubts and discouragements come when you put down the shield of faith. Sooner or later, you have to determine what you believe in or just hang on for dear life.
That's right.
You either know that you believe in God or get ready for the roughest ride of your life. Because the devil's going to drag you around, bounce you around, kick you around, beat you around, do everything he can to you while you're trying to make up your mind whether you believe God is capable of taking care of you.
Amen. That's true.
While you're trying to make up your mind if I still believe God can do this or not, the devil's going to drag you around and kick you around. But when it starts out with you believing God, yeah, you're going to go, you still might get bumped around a little bit. I'm not going to tell you you're not. But I'm going to tell you this. If you hold on to your belief and your faith, that is your lifesaver. And that rope is directed straight to God. He's got a hold of it. You're not going to fall. You're not going to fall. God's going to bring you through.
Amen.
But if we're trying to figure out whether we believe God can do it or not, get ready, because you better hold on, because your ride just got a lot rougher. You think the devil was throwing stuff at you before? Wait till now. Now, the next, verse 24. Consider one another. Consider one another. That means I don't only have to have faith in the now for me. Do you mean that means I got to have faith in the now for Sister Dorothy? I thought that was my job to call the pastor on Sister Dorothy. I thought that was my job. Oh, really, Lord? Yes. He said, consider one another. What does that mean? You carry your faith for you as well as carrying faith for your brothers and your sisters.
Amen.
Loving them and caring for them. Because what you carry for them today, somebody may have to carry for you tomorrow.
Amen.
You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But he says, consider literally means to pay attention to one another. To pay attention to one another. Try to sense through the Spirit what others are going through. And if they have verbalized they're going through a hard time, that's even more the reason that the church needs to be holding on to their faith and needs to be paying attention to that person and needs to have a burden for that person, to pray for that person.
Yeah.
He said, consider, we need each other. Listen, there's not one of us in this building today that we do not need each other. I said we need one another.
Yeah.
We'll never know when the real need may come that we may need to call upon someone right away. We need everybody today. We don't need to have a standby list. When I worked for the city, they'd have standby. They put you on the list. And unless you were really, really needed, you just sit there. Well, I got news for you. There is no standby list in serving God.
Amen.
There is no standby list where you go over here and just stand by and say, well, I'll wait until they call me. And then when they call me, I'll pray. That's like my dad told me about 2 months before my daughter was born. He said, keep your truck full of gas constantly. He said, don't even get down to a half a tank. You keep it above a half a tank. Because he said, if you let it get down to empty, that's about the time your wife's going to need to go have that baby, and you're going to have to stop for gas, and she's not going to be happy. Keep it full. If you're on standby waiting for God, just to let somebody come by that needs your help, you know what? They're going to find you with a half a tank or less. You're not going to be prayed up. You're not going to be read up. You're not going to be ready to worship God. Because you've got to get all that. You're going to have to stop somewhere along the way and try to get filled up. And all you're going to do is get just enough prayer to get the gas needle to move above empty. When if we have our faith, holding on to it, we are ready to help one another. Paul used the term regularly in his writings, one another. Why? Because Paul knew that surviving in crucial times, that we needed to pay attention to one another. He knew that we needed to pay attention to one another. Now, the rest of these didn't seem too hard to abide by. But this last one is verse 25. Holding fast, loving, consider one another, and drawing near to God. Those seem pretty. Oh, yeah. You go, preacher. This is the one that's going to hit some, and I hope not too hard, but you can dodge it. Verse 25. Not forsaking nor neglecting to assemble together as believers, as in the habit of some people, but admonishing, warning, urging, encouraging one another, and all move faithfully as you see the day approaching. Don't get out of the habit of going to church. Don't get out of the habit of going to church. Some people have gotten out of the habit of meeting for worship. We can't do that.
That's right.
We've got to keep encouraging one another. Now, if we are not gathering together, how will we see our brothers and our sisters' needs?
That's right. Amen.
This is the hard part. How can we encourage one another if we don't see one another? You see, especially since you know the day of the Lord's coming is getting closer. Folks, we need each other. It is important that we gather together. If we got paid in blessings, the way we would get paid on a job, if our work attendance was as good as our church attendance, that'd probably be, somebody's probably down there getting food stamps. I'm not being mean, I'm just saying. Folks, listen. This is your filling station. This is where you come to receive from God. This is where you come. This is why I said we need each other. We need each other's love. We need each other's support. We need one another. We never know whenever we're going to be in a time when somebody, God may have you have just the exact words to share with somebody that their heart is breaking. And if we forsake ourselves from attending church and just make it nonchalant, God cannot use us to help that person. And when crucial times comes in our lives, most people that struggle during really hard times are those that are hit and miss.
Yes.
In church.
That's right.
I like talking about this about as much as I do talking about tithes. I don't. But this is scripture. This is not coming from me, this is coming from God. Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to Him, we ask you not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled. He wants us to know because we have gathered together. He wants us to be of sound mind. He wants us to be there. You see something? You see, if you're not here, I don't always know if you're hurting.
That's right.
I don't always know if you have a need, if you're not here. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to say this with all the love I know how. I don't care what you need prayer for. I don't care how big it might seem or how small it might seem to you. That is immaterial. God does not categorize our needs by the great ones to little ones. They are all needs. And if you are not here to express those needs of prayer, if you are not here to share that, then we don't know what you need. And you're going to sit at home going through a crucial time and a hard time all by yourself, wondering where God is. And if you're called by myself or by someone in the church, and you do not share with them what you're going through, they cannot help you. If you're out of church for a reason and you're going through something, but you don't let it be known to the church, we can't come to your rescue. we can't help you. And that's why he was saying, these things are important. And these things are so important. He said, exhorting to one another. It relates to corporate worship. Exhorting one another. That's not preaching to one another. That's lifting up one another. That's not putting one another down or condemning one another or judging someone. That's uplifting one another. Exhorting one another. I don't know what could have got you in your mess. That's none of my business what could have got you there. I don't care what got you there. But I know if you're there, you need my support and my help to get out of it. And I need you and you need me. And together, you can rise out of that.
Amen.
One of the biggest things I hear people say all the time, and I've heard pastors say this, and it drives me nuts. Well, they got themselves into that mess. Let them get themselves out of it. That just, I mean, I've heard it just, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard, you know? Or somebody gritting their teeth. Stop. It's one of the worst things you can say. It shows the lack of concern. It shows the lack of care. It shows your lack of compassion. It shows your lack of faith in God when you say something like that. And it drives me nuts. It doesn't matter how you got there. Whether you got there on your own, whether it was by your own doings, or whether it was an attack from Satan, it does not matter to me. What matters is that we get you back on track and you get focused and get your eyes back upon God. Amen. And begin to draw near to God. Encouraging one another daily. Now, we have so many ladies in the church that are single. And I'll be honest with you. If I know there's really something going on, I'll call. I'm not in the habit of just picking up the phone and you know, calling and talking like that. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just kind of, it's just, I want to make sure, I just want to kind of keep things on the up and up. You know what I mean? But if I know there's something going on, I'm going to call and I'm going to offer my prayer and my help. So I may not call you as often as I call John or one of these guys, Richard or somebody, Bob or whatever. I may not do that. But I want you to know I care just as much about you as I do anyone.
Amen.
But I want to keep things, I just want to keep things without approach. But if you need me, don't hesitate to call me.
Amen.
I don't care if you're not married. I'm not going to call and just have a general conversation, la conversation with you. I mean, I think you understand where I'm coming from on that. But by the same token, listen, don't let that stop you from reaching out to me with your concerns and your compassion. I want to do that. Why? Because the Bible says, care one for another. Now, there's conversations I have sometimes. People, different ladies will call, and I'll tell you what, very encouraging, and I enjoy those conversations. But what I'm saying is, if we're coming together, we can make these things known. And not only then do you not just have one person praying, but now you have a whole body of people praying.
That's right, amen.
And you don't have to share what it is. I know that when Scripture says, you know, share your faults one with another. I don't know if that's such a good idea. I'm not saying I'm not necessarily recommending that. But I'm just saying this. There's a song out, the guy, a country singer came out with not too long ago, and he talked talks about him as a child being in church. And he said he can always remember one little sister when it come time for prayer. And he talks about her lifting her hand with an unspoken request. You see, if we're going to make it through crucial times, we need each other. I said we need each other. As I said Wednesday night, I do not know where I would be today had it not been for you people coming together for me, along with many others. But I don't know where I would be. But if I would have kept my situation all to myself, and I would have just kept it just within my family, I might be dead today. Not that my family doesn't believe me, they do. But I'm telling you, this is what we have to do to come together. Would you stand with me this morning? Sister, would you come? Took a little longer than I anticipated. We all face crucial times. We all face hard times. We all have difficulties in this life. And we need each other. We need one another. We need God. And if we're going to make it through these times, we've got to draw close to God.
That's right, man.
We've got to. You've got to hold. If the only faith you say you have to hold on to is the faith of the night that God saved you, that's all you need. If you have that faith that you believe when God saved you, that's all the faith you need. You don't need any more than that. You just need to act on that same faith. We've got to hold on to the faith. We've got to love one another and forsake not the sin of ourselves together. If it's possible for you to be in church, you should be there. Now, I'm not such a hard nose that I think everybody should be there every night. If you can make it, yes, you should be there. But there's times when you can't. That's understandable. That'd be ridiculous for me to stand up here and say, well, there's no reason you should be here. Well, there's sometimes there is. But sometimes we find reasons not to be here that we could be here. So I just shared my heart this morning. If you're here this morning and you're going through a hard time, I don't care what it is. Maybe you're carrying the burden of a family. Maybe you're carrying the burden of one of your children. Maybe it's not your personal, crucial time that you're going through, but it's somebody else's and you're going through it with them. I want you to come and we're going to pray and we're going to trust God. And He's going to meet you right here. And He's going to say to you, child, I love you. Child, I care about you. I'm concerned about you. And if you'll trust me, I'll take you through the hardest of times of your life. If you're here, I want you to come. And we're going to pray. And we're going to believe God with you. If you're here, you're going through something. It doesn't do you any good to know where you can get help if you don't go there. You gotta go there. Father, God, in the name of Jesus. God, you know, God, what is going through your heart. God, you know the time that he's in. Oh, God. Lord, we ask you right now to come to his rescue, God. God, come to his side right now, God. Oh, God. God, you have the answer. Sister Kathy, would you come up here? I just feel like we need to pray for her. Somebody said something about, I always get these questions like, why do you have Sunday night service? I hear that from everywhere. Why do you have Sunday night service? I said, well, let me ask you this. What would you do if the hospital emergency room only opened up for 4 hours on Sunday morning? Where would you go if the urgent care centers was only open 4 hours on Sunday morning? Better yet, what would you do if McDonald's or Burger King was only open on Sunday morning for 4 hours? Starbucks. And they said, well, I never thought about that way. I said, you know what? When we close our doors to our churches on Sunday night, you know what we're telling them, John? We can only help you on Sunday morning. Come back next week. There might be somebody contemplating suicide. And they see the doors open and they come in and they get deliverance and they walk away. That's why we have Sunday night service.